What up, people? It's your boy, Master Chudy, out here with another review of my adventures with Superman. I didn't do one last week because, honestly, I didn't feel like it. But, this is episode 2 of a two-parter, episode 9. And, man, when I tell you, I don't know what to make of this show, and this show doesn't seem to know what it wants. Because, man, it's confusing. But, quick recap of episode 8, Superman, his powers expand. He's trying to do stuff, but he gets framed. Task Force S comes after him. They capture him. Boom, that's pretty much it. Vicky Vale is also going about in the last episode trying to essentially be like a Luthor slash JJJ uh, clone about trying to frame Superman in a bad light, yada, yada, yada. And that's it. This episode picks off where we have where we basically have Superman's captured Lois and the kids, the Metro, the Metropolis kids are trying to find Superman, and I'm gonna get to this more in the things I disliked about this episode. But man, they're trying to find Superman in Metropolis, and funny enough, Superman is in underground in Metropolis. Like you would think that somebody like Amanda Waller and this general, who I still am going to call Eiling, because that's really all they mentioned his first name, but I can't seem to remember it. They're keeping him still in Metropolis. You think they have him transported to another facility, but nope, that's not what they did. They decided to simply keep him in Metropolis, and without him to escape. But I'll get to that. But anyway, they're interrogating him. The general is pretty much saying that, hey, I've been there. I was there 22 years ago. Gives an idea that Clark is probably in college still. But he's saying that, hey, I've been there. When are your people coming? When's the next invasion coming? And Clark is like, man, I don't know about any invasion. And this is when my guy, the general, shows him essentially a a look into the whole thing that happened 22 years ago. That, hey, apparently he was on a mission and they found this alien tech. Yada yada yada. Somebody came throughout the portal. And except for him and Amanda Waller, they used to be part of the same unit. Everybody got killed except for those two. And the portal just closed, and the Armada went and came back. I'm going to go back to why this is a problem and what I disliked about this episode. Superman goes in and he begins to cry, saying, I didn't know it. Am I a monster? And then the general, who has been interesting as a character up until now, starts automatically saying, "Oh my gosh, maybe I got the wrong guy. I don't know." It was so easy to convince, but he decides to go back to Amanda Waller, and Ivo's also going crazy, saying that, "Hey, I want Superman. You promised me." But anyway, the general. I'm going to call him Eiling, and they also have him listed as the general. But he goes in saying that, "Hey, I need you to go in and I think we might have made a mistake." Amanda Waller's like, no, we didn't make any mistake. What about the next invasion? And he's like, we're not going to do anything to Superman. We're not going to terminate him. We're here to get more information. We're going to question him. And so Amanda Waller's not having that, so she decides to cause some chaos herself and essentially decides to release all of the people that they've captured. So that includes Livewire, Silver Banshee, Parasite, Dr. Anthony Ivo slash that, all of them, you know, Silver Banshee's crew again. Like I said, they all decide to release him. And then Ivo starts going after Superman, manages to find him, and Superman is obviously weakened. Without kryptonite, mind you, he was beaten up and, of course, in prison, but it seems like the military also seems to know about red sun radiation, which even Clark doesn't know that weakens him. In fact, nothing has been talked about in that particular case. But long story short, they fight Superman, and Superman is getting beaten up by is getting warped by Ivo. Ivo starts absorbing the energy from the base, and a lot of chaos is caused, and then Superman manages to escape through the sewer system back into Metropolis. Yes, once again, this all took place in Metropolis because, you know, why not? It's not like we could have had more world building, but that's neither here nor there. But at the same time, Ivo's going crazy. The people are the troops are coming in to put them down, but Ivo is too strong. He's getting too much power. Um, Slade loses his eye. Yes, everything is just happening within 8 episodes. For the life of me, I don't get it. But yeah, it's just crazy that this is happening. Everything is just happening so fast. But Livewire decides to get in the last lick in, and she takes out Slade's right eye. Bam! That's how he loses it. That's how he loses it. And because of this style, I can't even take Slade seriously. But Superman finds Lois, and well, first of all, one of the kids finds Clark basically, and decides to pretty much say that, hey, I found him. It's like, hey, I found him basically, and yeah, flip basically. Basically saying that I found him, and I'm gonna get you to that basically. Gabby, that's her name. Came in, so she manages to get Superman, take him to the clubhouse that they have, and Clark begins to cry again to Lois and Jimmy after they see him say, I'm a weapon, I've done all this type of stuff. Mind you, Lois seems to have redeemed herself a bit by apologizing for all her own weaknesses and whatnot, about judging Clark too much because of what she saw. But we'll get to that. But anyway, we see that Parasite or Ivo has turned into a freaking kaiju and is terrorizing the city looking for Superman. And he's just getting more energy. And Superman pulls off a Hercules for Disney's Hercules and saying that I'm the only one who could stop him, so I'm going to have to go. And essentially, what we find is that we see that after that, pretty much just like this, a huge battle goes about. Superman is getting whooped, but thanks to the power of talk no jutsu, Lois manages to use Jimmy's freaking. I'm just going to say it's a YouTube channel. Basically, he reveals his identity, and then Lois says, "This is me. We all need to help Superman. He's done so much for the city. Everybody, turn off your power." And I'm like, the hospital's needed, but everybody decides to turn off their power so that Ivo cannot siphon anymore. And Ivo's going crazy saying, "Oh, you cheated me, yada, yada, yada." Superman gets his second win thanks to the talk no jutsu, goes in, manages to defeat Ivo, and that's that. The day is saved. And, oh, they share romance and all this type of stuff, yada, 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 with Lois. And Jimmy decides to give them their space. I'm skipping a few things, but there's really not much to skip. But anyway, Jimmy finds the orb that shows the alternate evil Superman, and guess what? He sees it now. So he's going to have some issues. You bet on it. But meanwhile, back to Task Force X, um, the general is not too pleased about what Amanda Waller did, but Amanda Waller's like, you've lost control of the mission, you've lost the vision. So our superiors have decided that you are no longer fit to lead Task Force X. I will be leading Task Force X, as she always does and did. Essentially gives him a gun, not a kryptonite gun, but this Omega beam gun or whatever, and says that your job is now to take out Superman. And now, without any type of buildup, the general is now hesitating. I mean, it's okay for him to hesitate, but it needs to be built up to that. That needs to be earned. And, now they're going to try to kill Superman again without the use of the Task Force X, which, by the way, no brain bombs, but I guess this is like a kid's show, but it's on Adult Swim, so I don't know how mature you think your audience is, but whatever. And that's pretty much it. Did I like What did I like about this episode? There's very little. Because I've already said the animation's fine in multiple ones, so it's a given. I will say I like the fact that Deborah Wilson is the voice behind Amanda Waller. That's very nice. But man, this is uh this is gonna be a lot of negatives on this video. For starters, number one, Superman's freaking power level. Okay? In last episode and this episode, it's shown that he can just be taken down like any other regulars. He doesn't feel like Superman. His power level is so nerfed. And people were talking about how Superman, the animated series in the 90s, that his power level was nerfed, but no, he just didn't display godlike power. He was quite capable. This one is just nerfed, man. Like, anybody can defeat him, man. Anybody can defeat him. Number two, another thing that I disliked was also, man, this iteration of Ivo annoys me. Like, Ivo, granted, we never saw him in the DCAU. In the Justice League, we know he died. But at least Young Justice got Ivo right as an inventor that was calm, collected, and whatnot, and could plan. This one is insane. He's like the Riddler. It's like all of these guys who they want to show as a Tony Stark impersonators, give them Tony Stark and a Riddler character. And it's just baffling to me. Ivo sucked. The other metahumans also sucked. They didn't do much in this. Uh, Slade losing his eye was weak sauce in this. It was terrible. The fact that a whole armada, a whole armada just specifically came in and nobody heard of it on Earth, and they just disappeared. Now you would be right to say, well, it was just a confined area, and that's true. But if this armada was so bad and destroyed a human outreach, why just go back through the portal after about 12 hours of taking out a whole force and you left two people alive? You wouldn't think about invading if you're really invaders. Maybe they're going to say, "Oh, there's more nuance to it," but I doubt that. That's another whole different thing. A huge problem I also had, major one, is the freaking tone. The show doesn't know what it wants to be. Does it want to be a slice of life? Do you want to be a serious show where the villains, apparently that's what you bring in Amanda Waller doing her things, and despite the issues with this thing that she did do some very uncharacteristically unintelligent things, but she was still calculated in most. You do that with her character. Do you want your show to be serious like the Justice League Unlimited show? Slice of life, romance all over the place, talk no jutsu. It's like the tone is all over the place. And in conjunction with that, you took the worst elements of anime cliches and put it in this show, a Superman show, which is horrible, horrible. Like, come on, do better, do better. And lastly, I'm gonna say I'm mixed on this. Not something I like, but something I can appreciate, but there are problems too. Like, it's good to see Amanda Waller do Amanda Waller things, but her releasing all these villains and inmates because the general disagreed with her is uncharacteristically petty of her. Like, she would have found a way to get her lick back without jeopardizing losing Superman, which she did, so that would be her fault, not necessarily the general's fault. Unless, of course, she wanted a way to get the general out of power, so she did that, and that was very sloppy. But I feel like the Amanda Waller I know would have come up with a better way. The general has always been interesting up until now, where now his whole motivation has been undone because he saw Clark crying. And I'm like, really? Really? You could have built that, but that really gets to how many episodes they showed, which is why somebody discussed that. I've discussed with somebody. I don't think he said that this show might not get another season, and I said it probably will get at least another season max, 2 seasons max, and it's done. If they're rushing it like this, then hey, maybe the show is not long for this world. And finally, I want Superman to be stoic, have some emotion. Like, come on, man, not everything. Your life is not a lie. You're better than this, and it's been done with Clark not being overly emotional. Clark is done better. Like, this is the weakest iteration of Superman, both physically and emotionally, I can say. So, man, I'm gonna have to give this episode a 5 out of 10. Like, come on, you can do better, show. You can do better. And if you don't know, the viewership on this show has been pretty abysmal. You know, the last time it cracked 200,000 viewers for Adult Swim was about in July, basically. Ever since then, it's been below 200,000, and the viewership has been getting lower. Though maybe this episode will bump up because it's the end of a two-parter, but I don't know. But anyway, thank y'all for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notifications to make sure you're notified. Comment down below. You think I'm overreacting? Do you think I'm wrong? Did you like this episode? Did you find it neutral, or did you also dislike it like I did? Thank y'all for watching, and I hope to have more videos up when I can. Peace.